In this video, I will be providing an introduction to business combinations. First, we need to understand why companies choose to combine. Mergers and acquisitions vary in popularity. They can be in or out of fashion and tend to increase in frequency when stock prices are rising. Often, mergers are used to help companies meet their growth targets. Internal growth can be difficult as it often requires development of new products to sell to existing customers or an expensive promotional campaign to attract new customers. A merger, however, results in very rapid growth through the acquisition of one or more other firms. Besides speed of growth, there are various other advantages of external expansion. Ideally, the merger results in synergies that create a combined entity that is greater than the sum of its parts. A vertical merger creates efficiencies by eliminating negotiation in the supply chain. A company that makes iron widgets, for example, could purchase iron ore mine and ensure a supply of raw materials that are not marked up to make a profit. A horizontal merger creates efficiency by eliminating duplicate functions. Sorry guys, the merged company only needs one accounting department. External expansion also allows for ease of entry into new markets. This is especially useful for international markets where it could take a great deal of time and effort to learn about local regulations and customs. If we purchase an existing business, we also purchase the institutional knowledge about how to operate in their market. There can also be tax benefits of mergers. Remember from intermediate accounting that net operating losses can be carried forward to offset future income and decrease tax liability. Purchasing a company with a history of past losses also purchases their NOLs. Anytime there's a scam this good, though, you can count on the IRS to close the loophole. The Tax Reform Act of 1986 limited the use of purchased NOLs, but there are still some benefits. Purchasing a company that operates in a different industry or geographic location can also be an easy way to create diversification. If we own a manufacturing company and would like to diversify by entering healthcare, it would be much more efficient to purchase an existing healthcare company than to build one from the ground up. On the flip side of the previous point, a company that has grown through mergers can also divest more easily in the future. This works best if the purchased companies continue to operate autonomously rather than centralizing their administrative functions with the parent company. Having an entire company that, if sold, would be able to continue to operate without interruption can be valuable. Business combinations can be friendly or unfriendly. When friendly, the boards of directors get together and negotiate mutually agreeable terms. When unfriendly, the board of directors of the target company opposes the acquisition, and so the purchaser bypasses the board of directors and directly approaches shareholders. A board of directors may oppose a merger for a variety of reasons, but one major concern is that the target company will be dismantled and the employees laid off. So what if the target company doesn't want to be acquired? There are a few things they can do to try to avoid being taken over. This is my favorite part of the chapter because these defensive tactics all have ridiculous names. We will start with the poison pill. Under this tactic, the target company offers to sell additional shares to their current shareholders at a discount. Let's say the shares are currently trading for $10 per share, and the tender offer is for $15 per share. If I have an option to buy additional shares for $5 and then turn around and sell them for $15, that's a great deal. From the acquirer's perspective, this causes all kinds of issues. The acquirer is looking to purchase enough shares to gain effective control. So as we learned, that's usually around 51% of the outstanding shares. But now there are more shares outstanding. Even worse, the company has already committed to buy them at $15 per share, so this deal just got a lot more expensive. The downside for the target company is that even if they are successful in thwarting the takeover attempt, they have diluted their share price in the process. The next tactic is greenmail. In this one, the target pays the acquirer to buy their own shares back on the condition that the acquirer will not try to take them over again for X number of years. In our previous example, we had shares worth $10 per share and a tender offer for $15 per share. In a greenmail scenario, the target company might offer $20 per share to buy their own stock back. Essentially, the acquirer is holding the target shares hostage. In peak 1980s style, companies were accused of launching fake takeover attempts just to get the greenmail proceeds. They really had no interest in actually taking over the target company, but they saw the opportunity to make a quick buck. The next one is the white knight. Here, the assumption is that it isn't the idea of being taken over that the target company is opposed to, but it is the specific acquirer that they have a problem with. Perhaps the acquirer has a reputation for dismantling acquired companies, and the target is trying to protect their employees. In this scenario, the board will attempt to find a different, more desirable company to acquire them before the less desirable company can do so. Next, we have the Pac-Man defense. This one might be my favorite. Essentially, the target company says, "Oh yeah? You're going to take us over? Not if we can take you over first," and turns around and puts out a tender offer of their own. This creates a race to 51% ownership where the winner gets both companies. Sometimes, a company is targeted for acquisition for a very specific reason. My husband once worked for a company that had razor-thin margins, and part of their success was that they had a raw materials mine located on a river. Shipment of the raw materials by water was much cheaper than by land, thus providing them with a competitive advantage, and also potentially making them the target of a takeover attempt. If a company wanted to resist a takeover attempt, one strategy might be to sell the plant on the river, since that's the only thing the acquiring company was interested in anyways. This is called selling the crown jewels strategy. However, there's one major flaw with this one. Say your company survives the takeover attempt. Now you don't have your best asset either. Finally, we have the leveraged buyout. In this case, the managers of the company and some trusted third-party investors take out a bunch of loans and use the cash to buy out enough shareholders to gain a controlling interest, and then take the company private. A private company cannot be subject to a hostile takeover because their shares are not bought and sold on a public market where the hostile actor can gain access to them. This concludes our introduction to business combinations. Don't forget to email questions for our discussion.